really full
What
on.
What I don't understand about this whole the guy stops trying thing or whatever is, are you guys trying? Like, are y'all the ones who are like putting in the effort to set up the date?
That's what you're saying. Did they stop trying because you stopped trying?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's
So
like
now
it's like these girls who say he never texted me. Did you text him? Did you send a message?
Okay, for my... Go ahead.
Girls will even say a guy will double text you and then he'll stop texting you. And then she'll be like, why did you stop texting me?
Because you shot down my...
What?
Because you shot down my... Like, the guy as a guy. Like, you made me feel like I wasn't... Like
No,
I was
but
less
I'm saying the girl will be like, oh, the complaint here would be, let's say a
invalid.
girl and the guy hook up and then he doesn't text her again. But did you, like, but she never texted him either. Well, it's like you're both kind of
Isn't that
not doing anything.
Isn't
to
that
make it
more or
happen.
less on the spectrum of the equality conversation?
What do you mean?
Like, because I hear what you're saying and I agree. Like, if she stops putting in effort, why should he continue to put in effort? And also, men can't read our minds. So if you're not like very specifically saying, I would like you to text me every morning and tell me that I'm beautiful, and I would like you to plan dates once a week, then he's not. I mean, men are very like direct, so they need that rather than just I want more romance. But
well, okay.
would it be considered like, is that the equality? Because wouldn't someone earlier was talking about masculinity in the comment section, and so I'm curious, like, wouldn't some men perceive that as masculine if she then starts to reciprocate in that way?
It's not masculine to initiate
To
a
produce an
conversation.
outcome?
I think girls just don't text because they don't want to seem like they're desperate.
And
Yeah,
then
but the
when
guy could just say the same exact thing.
Yeah,
no,
but
but that's
girls are
expected
more-
from a guy. It's different.
But let's say
It's
Right.
always the man is supposed to start it. Like, right? That's what they say. They're like, oh, well, if the
But
man
like,
wants
okay,
you.
so I think when it comes to like this whole thing where men will put in effort in the beginning and then just stop. Well, until they met you, maybe they had to put in that initial effort with like 10, 20, 30, 40 different girls. So they're already burned out. And then, okay, they finally, got you, whatever, cool. And then they just start coasting. And it's like, well, they already put in all the effort. Y'all never put in any effort in the beginning.
Yeah, I think it's fair. You're saying that you want your effort to be matched.
What if they did
I
start
guess.
off strong and then they slowly start like losing that momentum, and you as a woman, even despite being like, oh, I don't want to be desperate, but I know what I want and what are my needs, and I'm going to show that and tell you clearly this is what I expect from you, and if they choose not to meet those expectations, then that's when I feel like the fall through of like, okay, they're not trying, so I'm not going to try.
What's your
anymore.
version of a woman coasting?
The beginning
what's
of a
what's the
relationship.
version of a woman coasting?
Yeah.
You just mean the default for women?
No, I'm curious.
You
well,
mean just
yeah.
the status quo of how women move?
Well, the equivalent
That's-
of like her
What do you mean?
saying that he stopped
That's
trying.
what women do is coast. What do you mean?
I feel like
That's what I'm asking.
You just
I'm
show
curious.
up.
I feel like for a woman, it's at
That's
the
it.
beginning. At the beginning, a man does more to get the woman's attention, and then as the woman is more attracted to this person, she does more. So she's expecting more from a man because it's growing for her. She's doing more for this person because she genuinely feels something. But it's like the opposite for a man. They're gonna do all they can at the beginning, and then slowly they're gonna
our
just stop
effort-
and stop and
our
stop. How
effort-
is that balanced?
What the fuck?
Wait,
Where's these flies coming from? Our effort is front loaded. We do all the work in the beginning. And then,
and then the
just
girl
kinda-
has to do the rest of the work for the rest of
No,
y'all lives.
Yeah,
I
for-
think
for
I
the
think
rest-
Like, you didn't do enough then.
I think what you're saying is if she just shows up, but if I were a man, I'd find that very unattractive. If
That's
all,
what- but
if all she
okay.
does is just show up, if that's her only job is to like
that's
be
what-
there and
I mean, that's how it
look
is.
attractive.
That's how it is.
Not in all relationships.
That's how it is.
That's why I said what I said, because so think of it as a job interview, right? When you go to a job interview as the person who's applying for the job, you're selling yourself to the company, but
Right.
a lot of people don't realize the company's also selling themselves to you. So a job interview is, mutual, right? Do you want to work for this company, and does this company want you to work for them? And I feel like that's how, obviously maybe not as formal as that, but in a relationship, when you're first starting the relationship, it's like, I want to date you, and I'm going to show you that I want to date you, and you should reciprocate the same way. we should both show each other that we're interested and keep that interest. And then now as we become a couple and more exclusive and now we're physically dating, that try should continue from both sides. But that's where society's, I just think, fucked up right now, because women just think that men are supposed to sell themselves to them. And they're just supposed to, the men are supposed to do everything. They're supposed to try. They're supposed to put in all the effort. And the woman just expects to sit there and just be pampered.
And be hot, yeah. Like that's the contribution.
With nothing to give. And I think that's what the problem is. I'm agreeing with you.
Oh,
if
okay.
You look confused. So.
No, yeah. Cool. Thank you. Thank you for the cosign.
It's a fair
No,
point.
you guys, look, I mean, do you get, like, what do y'all really do to, at the start of a relationship, what do you really do to actually make it happen?
Well, I think a high. Oh.
Can you read it?
Women say they want a simp emotional man until that man gets his ass kicked in front of them or unable to protect or stand up for them. Then the emotional attraction and respect is gone. Hey, Adeline.
Hey.
Yo, thank you, Pagan, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
That's one of my peeps.
Yeah, it's just not clear to me that when it comes to like matching effort, that at least in terms of contributing to the start of a relationship, that women are putting in that effort at the beginning. It's very, so like you guys might complain, well, down the road in the relationship, it feels unequal, but it feels unequal to us, like for almost every single girl that we encounter. And it obviously not every, you know, you approach a girl, maybe you go on the first date, that's the end of it. We pretty much put in every single effort that can be taken to actually make that happen.
But when do you find balance?
Wait, what do you have? Go ahead.
What would you expect them to be doing? Texting you, asking you to go out on a date, or?
Well, I mean, so in terms of expectation, my expectations tend to be typically pretty low. Although I've certainly had the experience, I've had the experience of like women who initiate with me, and actually prefer that because I prefer dating women with high levels of interest over like shooting my shot with like 10, 20, 30 different women. And then it's kind of like a lot of these chicks are fence sitters and they've got their eye on 3 different dudes. So I actually prefer when I think it's a much better dynamic, which is the dynamic that women typically have a monopoly on and tend to enjoy, the dynamic of you getting to choose, guys coming to you. You have much more leverage when it's that kind of dynamic. The leverage tends to equalize the longer, you know, once you've been dating for 3 months, it's kind of equalizes a little bit, although it is, so in terms of early on, most guys can't get that though. Most guys never get approached, never get a hit on, never get a DM, never get a DM from a chick, match with a chick on a dating app. They're gonna have to send the first message, set up the date, plan the date, move things forward physically, et cetera, et cetera. But so I don't think when it comes to expectation that there's like, I never have the expectation. It's nice if it does occur, if the girl does actually make some effort and takes initiative. And I do think it's a better dynamic, but I don't know where I'm going with this. What was the question?
Is there
What do you
ever
expect
Yeah.
in the beginning?
What do I expect? Oh, what do I expect? I mean, I expect to pretty much, do you guys, any of you play video games?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's this video game term called carrying. This is when somebody who's superior at a video game takes somebody who has little or no experience in the video game and takes them to the W, takes them to the win. You carry them like on your back. Somebody, you know, it's like you're playing some shooter game or whatever. They suck at the video game. You fucking rock, or at least you know what you're doing, and you can bring them to the W. In this case, that would be the relationship. And so typically, it seems to me, at least early on, you're carrying the chick to the relationship. And
Can it be vice versa?
Y'all can disagree. Y'all can disagree, but I mean, look, I'm sure there's some guys that you might be you've chased, you've maybe had this experience, but
Yeah.
but typically, what I have found is pretty much at like all these different points, the guy's going to be the one who's going to have to put in the effort and also face the rejection. So this is how it would work. So like, let's say it's a guy who's approaching you, if we remove online dating from this, like he's just maybe goes to your college, whatever, if you went to college and you're in his class, he approaches you after class, he's got to do the approach. That's terrifying for most people, both men and women. Women overwhelmingly never do that, but he's going to approach you. Then there's a potential for rejection, but assuming it's not a rejection, then he's going to have to carry the conversation, because typically the burden of conversation is going to be on the person who approaches. It'd be weird for you to just approach someone, say hi, and say nothing thereafter. Like that would be like,
Hey.
I mean, it's kind of if you can pull it off, I guess, but it is kind of this like, it's almost like if somebody contacts you, it's like, what do you want? You know? So the burden of conversation is going to be on them. Then they're going to have to, be smooth, whatever, be charming. They're going to have to ask you out. They're going to have to, do that in a smooth way. They're going to have to solicit the phone number, the contact information, if it's Instagram, phone number, whatever. Then they're going to have to follow up, send that text. Then they're going to have to plan the date. When you invariably cancel 30 minutes before that first date because your goldfish needs to be fed or whatever, he's going to have to take that gracefully, even though it's extremely rude to cancel 30 minutes before the date. So he's going to have to maneuver with that. And then he's going to have to set up the follow-up date, and then he's going to have to, okay, here's where, I'm going to take you here, here's the time, handle the logistics of that. Then he's going to have to pay for the date, carry the conversation probably on the date, and then he's going to have to move things forward from there. Is he going to try to go for the kiss? Is he going to try for more? If that's a no, but she's still interested, okay, second date, third date, fourth date, wash, rinse, repeat. He's got to, face multiple points of potential rejection all throughout this entire process. Let's see what else. Yeah, he's got to go for the first kiss. He's got to move things forward sexually. It's extremely rare for women to go for the first kiss or be like the initiators sexually also. So there's just a whole bunch of points of potential rejection. And then just also,
But when women do it, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. But when women do it, they're deemed aggressive. They're deemed too dominant, too masculine. Or if they double text you, they're needy, or they're, whatever it is that they want to be easy. Or if they're accessible, then they become, again, easy. So I feel like there are plenty of women out there, and I encourage women to double text, say what you want, go and get it. And if a man can't handle that, fuck them.
Well, I actually think from my research, men love when women approach. They find it extremely attractive because it shows confidence. But I think the nuance that you're giving is like, if she were to also make a move on him sexually, that could be seen as like too easy or too accessible. But I think there's nuance. I think what he's saying is the man has to go through all these different touch points that are all essentially him going out on a limb, and there's nothing really in him. There's no ROI for him, really. And I think the nuance is missing, because I think men do want to see more initiative as well from women, just because it's terrifying for a man to walk up to an attractive woman. Like it public shame, the risk of that is so high. Whereas if an attractive woman walks up to a man, that likelihood that she's going to get rejected is so low.
Yeah.
Even if she's an average looking woman.
True.
I agree.
Well,
I think that it sucks that you have to do so much effort, but when women do exemplify those traits, they are labeled that way. So if men didn't shoot those kinds of women down and kind of essentially push back on that kind of behavior, maybe more women would be inclined to do that.
Hold on, that's not actually true, because it's one thing if a girl walks up to a guy and is just super aggro and is like, here's want some pussy, that would be a turn
Not
off.
that.
But there's a way you can approach, like even step to a guy, walk up to a guy, and it not come across as aggressive or like masculine or whatever. You can do so in a feminine way. Don't be a slag about it. But what's up?
Do you think like looks have something to do with that? Because let's say, what if like you are mid, and you have all those traits that they're looking for, but because maybe you don't like meet their expectations visually, that they'll like maybe consider falling into the settling, be like, oh, she has everything, but I just don't like see her attractive. Do you think looks matter when it comes to those traits? Do you guys know what I mean?
Was there
For
a
a man,
question?
like for a man,
Do
Like a man for
if
a
a woman
woman.
came up to you and said, "Oh, hey, I like your beard and I want to take you on a date."
Yeah,
If she was
and then,
mid, would you?
And,
It's
like,
the same
let's-
thing. Double standard.
this is a very easy question to
think
answer.
looks always
If the
matter.
man does not find you physically attractive,
Why
that-
would you?
that's
It's the
it.
same thing with a woman.
But
Yeah.
men have to risk the same thing. What if she doesn't find me physically attractive? It is what it is, you know? So, yeah.
But I do think most attractive men would still be nicer to an average-looking woman than an attractive woman would be to an average-looking
yeah,
man.
well, and so going back to your point, kind of related to her thing, so women overwhelmingly will not make the first move, won't approach, won't slide into a DM, won't send the first message, won't, whatever. But in comparison to men, in the event that they do, they're actually much more likely to succeed. Like a dude could send thousands of DMs and never get a response, but if you're a girl and you send like DMs out, you're much higher chance to get a response. Also, you can slide into dudes who have like major status, and you're much more likely to get like an average girl. When I say, how about a normal girl slides into a famous guy's DMs? It's not a guarantee she gets a response, but like it's a possibility. Drake's fucking with normal chicks. I don't know if Drake is
fucks
like
with
the cool
anyone,
guy
shit.
anymore. I don't know. But like if a normal like fucking 20-year-old dude slides into like, I don't know, who's a Dua Lipa's DMs, you think she's like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, well I'll meet up with you, normal guy. Like, no, it's not happening.
I think for me it's more so the men's behavior of pulling out their phone and be like, man, this girl's been blowing me up since our first date. If you stop doing that, women would be more inclined to actually initiate more things. But we know that men sit there and they talk like that about women.
What? That's not true at all.
It's-
Talk more than
That's not true.
If he's not attracted to her, but I think if he's attracted to her, he'd be pumped.
But they're still banging her.
So
They're
that was
still what?
my question for you is at what point for you would her initiating the dates, her texting you multiple times, when would that become too much for you that you are now off put by it and unattracted, even if you're physically attracted to her? But now, so think of the term like stage 5 clinger, right? You're physically attracted to her, but she's too available for you. At what point does that become unattracted?
I mean, I don't think, at least in my book, like if she's psycho, that's one thing. But if she's just super simpy, like really into me, I like that. Like I don't really like to play games. I like you, you like me. Because it's actually pretty rare for men to get like that level of attention, so like
unless they're hot.
okay, but I would argue like average chicks get like dudes fucking falling over themselves for like an average chick, whereas like average dudes ain't ever getting a DM, ain't ever being asked out, like ever. So I'm trying to think what I wanted to bring it back to. But so I would say though that you'll have totally just as a woman, your success rate for like sliding into a DM or approaching a guy is much higher. And then even if the guy, most guys are going to be much more like, they'll still take it as a compliment. Like most guys are not going to be like, bitch, get away. Like they're not going to do that. Like most guys are at least going to be graceful in the rejection. Whereas like, I think women tend to be fairly graceful, but like they'll also like, you'll have an experience as a guy. Like girls can be fucking brutal sometimes when it comes to rejection. Not all women, not all the time, but like even though I guess it can still be scary for you. Like as a woman, if you approach a guy, your success rate's going to be fucking insane, and then the guy's going to be pretty nice, I think, even in rejection. So. Yeah.
I just think men should encourage more of the women to go out there, and when they do it, like don't react that way. And I think that women,
Wait,
for the
react
record,
what way?
react in a like, oh, this is too much, or call them clingy, because most women, they don't do that because they are in fear of seeming clingy or needy or being too much.
Bro, most men, but like, can we just say the same thing about men? Except it's even worse for men.
Yeah.
It's even worse for men. We don't want to be seen like we don't want to be seen like we're creepy.
Okay, so let's just educate the public. Say what you want. Go after and get it. Send that double text, and then if they don't respond after 3 texts, just stop. Okay.
But
Just
you know,
stop.
you want to hear something crazy on the whole creepy thing? You can take a guy, exact same behavior, exact like verbatim, say the exact same thing, say it the same way. The only differential is one guy you're attracted to and the other you're not. Like that's it. It could be the same exact treatment, or he said the same thing, acted the same way, and the only difference is one guy's physically attractive, the other's not.
And I think the biggest thing is stop after 3 texts. For any men or women, stop having conversations with yourselves in people's DMs or text messages.
Oh, well, I can
think
agree
that's
there.
the biggest thing.
These guys who send like 10 messages
Yes.
never get a response.
Yes. So just don't do that.
Yeah, and
but
then they get really mad at you.
like it's okay. Let's just set the record straight. It's okay to double text. Okay.
But just
But what he was saying is just like matching effort, which
I
is
agree.
so like people generally want people that match their effort. They don't want people who go way above and beyond, because then it starts to make you question that person's status. Like why do you have me so high on a pedestal? But they also don't want the opposite. They don't want to feel like there's lack of effort when you're still putting forward initiative. So I think what he's saying, like a good balance would be, okay, you took a girl out for 2 dates. Now it's the 3rd date. Is she going to propose something? Is she going to propose to hang out? Is she going to maybe text you after the date instead of waiting for you to text her and like thank you for the experience? Like that's like just matching the effort. That way he doesn't feel like he's just constantly putting himself out there and she's just cruising.
And what I'm saying is don't be afraid to be that person. And I think so many people are scared to be that person. That's all.